Well, it looks like I'm ruffling some feathers here on YouTube, and good. This is a teachable moment because I posted a video, actually 3 videos that day, and I believe it was the last video I posted about the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. And my graphic was, I say BS. Now, I didn't come to that conclusion because I believe that the earth is flat or that we didn't go to the moon, because I'm anti-government, because I'm not. I believe in limited government, bringing power back to the states, to the people, because the representatives represent the people. But there are a lot of unanswered questions with what went on in Uvalde, Texas, which everybody, as I mentioned before, likes to link to Sandy Hook. And I predicted that somebody was going to connect George Floyd with what happened in Uvalde, Texas. And sure enough, Obama came out and linked George Floyd with Uvalde, Texas. Next, you're going to blame it on white supremacy, even though the perp was Hispanic. And I was watching the 5 today, and the 5 was confused on this timeline because first it came out that I think a door was locked. Then the suspect made it through an unlocked door. We were told that his grandmother died, or he shot and killed his grandmother. Then we were told that she survived. And I have an article here at Breitbart. This is by Paul Boyes, last name Bois. So it came out today. Title of the article, report, Texas shooter barricaded himself for 40 minutes as police waited. Why did the police wait? Why did they wait? The shooter who killed 19 children and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday reportedly barricaded himself inside as police waited outside for 40 minutes. What were they doing? Going over their script? You know, my dad was a firefighter. I mentioned this before. He was a firefighter. And I can guarantee you, he would not wait 40 minutes to go into a burning building to save people. According to people who were present at the scene, terrified parents were yelling at police officers to charge the school for 40 minutes until a Border Patrol team finally took him down. Go in there, parents reportedly shouted. Representative Tony Gonzalez, Republican, Texas, like that means anything, told CNN the standoff occurred after shots had been fired, during which there was a lull in the action, he said. And then the shooting, that's in parentheses, stops, and he barricades himself inside. That's where there's kind of a lull in the action. All of it, I understand, lasted about an hour, but this is where there's kind of a 30-minute lull. They feel as if they've got him barricaded in. The rest of the students in the school are now leaving. Again, why did the authorities wait 40 minutes? And why do we need the FBI and ATF? I've asked this before. Why do we need the ATF, the FBI, these federal agencies on the scene of something that should be handled by local authorities? This isn't something that happened, let's say, between state lines, or you've got some crazy loon that's going from state to state, where it becomes a federal investigation. This is a local incident. Let the local authorities handle it. You know, you people at the FBI, the ATF, first of all, your agencies are unconstitutional. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say we are required to have an FBI or an ATF. And our taxes pay your salary. You work for us. Now that we have these agencies, you're supposed to do what's in the best interest of the American people. And if you screwed up on this quote-unquote mass shooting, come out and say so. Own your mistake. But we can't do that because we're the big bad government, right? We got to come in and save the day. Raul Ortiz, chief of the U.S. Border Patrol, this is another thing I have a question about, said police came up with a plan as quickly as they could. Officers reportedly had engaged the shooter before several members of the Border Patrol tactical team. Why is the Border Patrol, we also need border control. That's something we need right now, President Biden. But why is the Border Patrol tactical team getting involved with this? Let the local police department handle this. Let their SWAT team handle this. Come on, Texas, get with the program. Love our viewers in Texas, by the way. I'm just saying, for the people in law enforcement who waited for 40 minutes while you possibly got kids inside this elementary school who are getting shot, hurt, or killed, a search and rescue responder and a few other agents went in after the gunman. Quote, they didn't hesitate. They came up with a plan. They entered that classroom and they took care of the situation as quickly as they possibly could, Ortiz outlined. Parents still expressed frustration with the time that passed before the shooter went down. Some even proposed rushing into the school before the police. Another question that was brought up, and this was on the 5. This didn't come from me, okay? This was on the 5 today. Another question that came up is, well, why didn't somebody bust out of a window, escape through a window? There are no windows in the classroom? Parents still expressed frustration with the time that passed before the shooter went down, and let's just rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they are supposed to, said Javier Cazares, whose 4th grade daughter died in the attack. Quote, more could have been done. They were unprepared, he added. The timeline of events shows the shooter had run into the school with his AR-15 rifle after crashing his truck into a ditch outside. He then shot at 2 people outside a funeral home nearby. Both were uninjured, and shot at 2 police officers who were arriving on the scene. They were both injured. The shooter then charged into one classroom and committed the massacre before barricading himself inside. As though this guy has got superhuman strength. And yet, there was nobody on the scene here, outside of the officers that showed up, that had some type of concealed weapon where they could have taken out the suspect or subdued him. Look, I'm going to ask the tough questions. Again, you people at the ATF, the FBI, even local law enforcement, you work for the people in your community. You work for the American public. I understand trying to come up with a plan. You're dealing with a hostage situation. You have to be delicate with these things so that you have the least number of casualties. So not some crazy loon here on YouTube who believes in conspiracy theories, doesn't believe in this wild, wild west of justice. I do believe in law and order. As I mentioned, limited government. But 40 minutes and now the timeline keeps changing? The door was locked, the door was unlocked. He crashed his car into a ditch or his truck into a ditch. But he didn't crash his truck into a ditch. And he just darted straight for that school. And nobody noticed until the cops showed up. Quote, the bottom line is law enforcement was there, said Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw. They did engage immediately. They did contain Ramos in the classroom. Salvador Ramos being the perp. Juan Carranza, who witnessed the event, believed police should have charged sooner. There were more of them. There were just one of him. He said, exactly. Exactly. So let's take a look at some of the comments here. In Breitbart. Does something here seem not to add up, even a little, the way the tactics have changed over the years? It seems this was allowed to happen. Update. There's a video from outside the school on Gateway Pundit. Watch it. Sometimes the FBI finds troubled people online and encourages them to commit crimes. Sometimes they make arrests, perhaps sometimes they don't. It's called MK Ultra, a mind control program. I don't know about that. I'm not going to read that one. No, maybe a sentence of this one. It's a pretty long paragraph. I'm starting to think that these shootings typically happen when Democrats are in charge of the White House and during elections. The last big one was Sandy Hook 2012, Obama and White House in election year. It would not surprise me in the least if the Democrats are having their friends in the FBI get on websites to target weak, mentally unstable people, pose as a peer or sympathetic ear in a private chat, and then push and trigger the people to do this. I don't know about that. But when you got people on the 5 asking questions, then something's up here. You people in Texas, I'm not talking about local law enforcement, citizens of Texas. I know there's great people in Texas, great people in law enforcement. Like I said, my dad was a firefighter. I have the greatest respect for firefighters, people in law enforcement, the military, even our officials who are supposed to represent us. But you need to be answering these tough questions. Quit beating around the bush. The American people deserve to know. And if I'm going to be the only one here on YouTube who's going to beat the drum on this, then so be it. I'm doing this because I love this country, because I care about this country. I want the best for everybody. And we can't have the best for everybody if we've got a government going around and getting involved in these quote-unquote, or creating these quote-unquote mass shootings. Now, if you had an incident that happened and you had to respond to it, okay. You have people who were hurt. I'm willing to accept that. Those of you who thought that I was cold-hearted or didn't believe in a mass shooting. I'm not saying that these incidents don't happen. But when you can't get the timeline right and you keep changing the narrative, then there's some serious questions that need to be asked about what happened, who knew what when. I should have been an investigator. Said it before. You will confess, or I will wave my Confederate battle flag in your face. Send you back to a plantation. And that goes for anybody, white, black, Hispanic, who's not on the up and up. I'm just having some fun here today, guys. I'm just having some fun here tonight, guys. I love doing these YouTube videos. I really do. It's a lot of fun. And then you just get so worked up in these videos that you trip over words. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I need to retire. I don't know. This is funny. Inbreds living in log cabins. Their kids have 6 fingers on each hand. Ooh, that's cool. Now, Democrats have all the girls with 3 legs. Great swimmers. You live in a fiction world. So do you come up with these delusions yourself, or are you just spoon-fed by the leftist media? Reality is that no one wants to live with leftist scum. Australian far-right launching their own little quote-unquote stop the steal. Leftists are criminals everywhere. I don't know about that. Of course, because conservatives everywhere are too ridiculous to be taken seriously and voted into office, so they have to kick and scream and cry about a make-believe quote-unquote steal. Poor babies. Well, the truth is, you've got, and I've mentioned this before, you've got 2 parties running everything who don't know what they're doing, okay? We need to get some fresh blood in Washington, D.C. In fact, we should just nix Washington, D.C. altogether. Why do we need Washington, D.C.? What's the point? Now, I understand that's where everybody goes to represent us, right? Our elected officials go there. But in the early days of the founding of this country, as I've mentioned before, the whole purpose of the country, well, really wasn't a country. The whole purpose was to have these states that were sovereign and independent, that shared common interests. And the only role of the federal government was to protect the homeland and oversee international trade. That's it. I can guarantee you, ask the tough questions, bring things back to the local level, let local authorities handle these situations, get the FBI and ATF out of it, and you're not going to have another mass shooting. Guaranteed. Because when you have bloated government, there's too many cracks in the system where you have some mentally ill loon that goes out there and commits something like this. Or they get persuaded or used for a political party's agenda. What about the Parkland shooting? What was his name? David, what was his name? The story where he went on his bike for however long the distance was, but yet he was at the school filming under a desk because he was trying to use his journalistic chops. Come on, folks. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. Cultural Confederacy here saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this great country. Catch me on Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes. Got a fun little page there with all sorts of stuff on it. You kind of get into my psyche, so to speak. And you can also follow me at Twitter, Cultural Confederacy Twitter. In fact, I posted a video of me working on a piece of music today. So go check that out to inspire you to keep working on these artistic projects, to continue in whatever endeavor you're working on, whether it's starting a business, trying to perfect some type of sport. Because again, I believe in this country. I believe in preserving history and culture. And this is something that needs to be talked about because it has to deal with the culture. I don't like kids being used as political pawns. That shouldn't be happening. But you people in Texas, those of you who are involved in this incident, the ATF, the FBI, you need to start answering some serious questions here about what happened and come clean because the American people deserve to know the truth. Got it, YouTube? Got it, Google? Culture Confederacy saying peace out.